Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the news that could really shake up your portfolio, but sometimes ends up just making us scratch our heads and wonder what is going on, like with this one. In reports like this, you usually expect pages and pages of financial tables and market analysis, but today we've got something a little different, a focus on a new investment a company called Upexi Inc. is making. Upexi Inc. is a company that trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker Upexi. They filed what's called a Form 8K, which is basically a report for those really big events that shareholders need to know about right away. And the big event here is an investment Upexi Inc. made in a new company called Alpha Exchange. Alright, so the date here is August 22nd, 2025. Upexi, which is our main company for today, put down a cool $750,000 to invest in Thousand. Alpha Exchange is described as a cryptocurrency trading platform, a place where people can buy and sell digital currencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And here's the interesting part of the deal Upexi made. They didn't just buy stock, they got a royalty. This means Upexi will get a percentage, specifically 49% of all the money Alpha Exchange makes, what they call gross revenue, from its platform going forward. But that's not all. This deal has some built-in upsell, so to speak. Upexi has agreed to make two more investments. The first is another $250,000. This payment will happen once Alpha Exchange finishes building its platform and manages to get 10,000 active users, people who are actually using the platform. When Upexi makes this second investment, their royalty percentage goes up from 14.9% to a much higher 19.9% to a much higher 19.9% of all gross revenue. And there's even a third stage. After reaching 25,000 active users, Upexi gets to make another $250,000 investment. At this point, they have a choice. They can either keep their 99% royalty forever, or they can switch some of that royalty into owning a piece of the company itself called equity. They could get a 9.9% royalty forever, or they can switch some of that royalty into owning a piece of the company itself called equity. They could get a 9.9% royalty forever, or they can switch some of that royalty into owning a piece of the company itself called equity. They could get a 9.9% royalty forever, or they can switch some of that royalty into owning a piece of the company itself called equity. Now, you might be wondering what Upexi's own business is like. Well, their main product that's traded is their common stock, which has a very, very small par value. That's a technical term, but basically it means they have a lot of shares out there. And the symbol most people know them by is UPXI. This is where you'll find their stock trading on the NASDAQ. Upexi is also checking the box as an emerging growth company. This means they are a smaller company that has a bit more flexibility with some of the accounting and reporting rules, kind of like a startup still finding its feet. And they have chosen not to use some of the extended reporting deadlines available to emerging growth companies. This suggests they want to be more transparent and get their financial reporting up to speed with the rest of the market, which can be a good sign. Scroll exhibit number, exhibit description. R104. Cat overpage interactive data file embedded within the inline XBRL document. Toe scroll. Cat, and as with most filings, there's an exhibit note here, exhibit 10.4 file, which is just about the way this report is formatted. For computers to read, nothing too exciting there. Scroll Upexi Inc. Kidderdated. August 27, 2020-25, Seer Andrew J. Nostrad as a name. Andrew J. Nostrad Kenamai. Andrew J. Nostrad Kiva title, Chief Financial Officer. Scroll finally. The report is signed off by Andrew J. Nostrad, who is the Chief Financial Officer of Upexi Inc. This is dated August 27th, just a few days after the initial investment happened, which is pretty quick work. So what's the story here? Upexi Inc. is making a strategic move into the cryptocurrency space by investing in Alpha Exchange. They're putting in capital to generate a revenue stream, essentially betting on Alpha Exchange's future success. The deal structure is quite interesting, with potential increases in their royalty share and an option to convert into equity. This isn't just a simple investment, it's a phased approach with performance-based triggers. Let's consider the implications. For Upexi, this is a way to diversify its revenue beyond its core business, whatever that may be, and tap into the high growth potential of the crypto market. The royalty income stream, if Alpha Exchange becomes successful, could provide a steady, predictable income. owning equity later on would give them a direct stake in the long-term value creation of Alpha Exchange. However, investing in cryptocurrency platforms, especially newer ones, carries significant risks. The crypto market is volatile and regulatory landscapes can change quickly. Success hinges on Alpha Exchange's ability to attract and retain users, build a robust platform, and navigate competition. Looking at Upexi itself, a company that is an emerging growth company implies it's likely still in a developmental stage. Their decision not to delay reporting standards suggests a commitment to transparency, which is positive. The investment in Alpha Exchange could be a game changer for them if Alpha Exchange takes off. If Alpha Exchange fails to gain traction or faces major operational or regulatory hurdles, Upexi's investment could be significantly impacted. The phased investment structure, however, mitigates some risk as Upexi isn't committing all the potential funds up front. They structured it so they can evaluate progress before fully committing more capital. In terms of external context, the cryptocurrency market has seen booms and busts. Being involved in this space requires a strong understanding of market dynamics and technology. Alpha Exchange's success will depend on its unique selling proposition in a very crowded market. Will it offer better security, lower fees, a more user-friendly interface, or neat services? Upexi's choice to focus on a revenue royalty initially is a less ownership-heavy approach compared to outright buying equity, which can be attractive to companies wanting revenue without excessive operational involvement or dilution. Now, for my take on this, Upexi's move into Alpha Exchange is an aggressive growth strategy. It shows a forward-thinking approach aiming to capture future revenue in a rapidly evolving digital asset market. The royalty model is a clever way to generate income, especially if Alpha Exchange experiences high transaction volumes. The conditional investments mean Upexi is being prudent with its capital, tying further investment to tangible milestones. The biggest strength here is potential upside. If Alpha Exchange becomes a major player, Upexi could see significant returns through its royalty stream or eventual equity stake. The flexibility to switch from royalty to equity also provides a strategic advantage. However, the risks are substantial. The crypto industry is notoriously unpredictable. Alpha Exchange is likely a nascent company and many startups fail. Upexi is essentially placing a significant bet on the success of this new venture. There's also the risk that the 10,000 or 25,000 active user targets might not be met, leaving Upexi with a smaller royalty stake or potentially a less successful investment than anticipated. In conclusion, Upexi Inc. is making a calculated gamble on the future of cryptocurrency trading. The investment is structured to allow for valuation and increased commitment based on performance. Whether this proves to be a brilliant strategic move or a costly misstep will depend entirely on Alpha Exchange's ability to execute its business plan and capture market share in the competitive crypto landscape. It's definitely one to watch, especially if you're interested in how traditional companies are navigating the digital asset world. Alright, that's our breakdown of Upexi's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think this bet on Alpha Exchange is solid or risky? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate news. And don't forget to check out the Discord channel linked in the description for more community discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.